Hey y'all, it's Brenda.
And Kristi. We are we feel like we're looking a little bit crazy. It's been it's the end of a day.
End of a day, end of a week.
Uh-huh. So Brenda came out to Brennan today and we did something fun.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to Royer's Pie Haven and had pie, and we sat at Ellis Motel.
Mm-hmm. That was so fun.
It was fun. It's a bar. It's a bar, but we just sat outside and visited with one of the partner owner guys. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we've just had a good day.
A really good day. I felt like today was my first day of summer.
Mm-hmm. And a vacation.
Kind of vacation-y feel today. Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah. So we and Brenda got her hair done.
I have my hair done today. Yes, thank you, Lauren.
I was like, hold on just a second, y'all, because it's on my phone. Look, can you see that caramel? Look at that great color in there.
Mm-hmm. Summer hair.
James Verona's gonna be like, why'd you put your finger over the camera? So we and the reason that Brenda came today is because our teenagers have been advising us, and so they gave us some tips on how to do a good job with our intro and our outro. So Brenda came up and we recorded that stuff in person today. Mm-hmm. And then what y'all are watching right now, we recorded this video 2 weeks ago today. It was a few days after George Floyd was killed, and we were supposed to record that Friday. We were supposed to record our fun laundry episode, which we still haven't recorded because we just haven't felt very fun. There's a lot going on. Big stuff.
Yeah, a lot going on, and we just it hasn't been the time to be silly and talk about laundry. Yeah. We just needed a minute. Things are very heavy right now. So we did. So we sat down, and it was Sunday. It was the night before. It was when the protests and I guess the riots, mostly the protests in Atlanta started. Actually, it was all over.
Runs together in my head at this point.
Yeah, it does. But so it was the next day, and so yeah, so we just sat with each other, and it went from orange you glad to orange you sad. We just there's a lot of stuff going on that morning when I woke up. So we talked about that. And so that's what this episode is going to be about.
Maybe it wasn't. Was it a Sunday? It was a Sunday.
It was a Sunday.
It was a Sunday morning. Okay. I was trying to think. So we've sort of, today's the first time that we have hung out and really visited since then, because that was, what was going on that week? That was your last week of school. And so you had a lot of big feelings about that, and a lot of big feelings. We all had big feelings about what's going on in the world right now, in our country, not just in the world. And so we've just been quiet and kind of in our own corners, trying to reevaluate. But I think we're back. So we're going to post this week, and then we'll be back with our next guest, which we're super excited about. And yeah, so we just wanted to I guess we want to sit down and say why.
Yeah, we just wanted to say why, where we've been, and this episode was not a planned episode. It was more of a conversation that just unfolded, kind of just things we needed to say. So it's not it. I honestly don't even remember like everything that was said. I know it was emotional and heavy, and definitely not as light and goofy.
It was not an orange. It was not an orange glad at all. So
it wasn't your typical normal bias stuff. So
that's okay. That's part
of it. So that's okay. Yeah.
And I apologize because we just finished dinner, and I thought I had ketchup right there, and I was like, oh man. So, and the reason I thought that is because this morning we got we've had an off week here, and so we're getting back on the clean eating train again tomorrow, and so they brought donuts this morning, and I had a chocolate filled donut. So when I was eating the chocolate filled donut, I scored the chocolate, and then I was cleaning house. So when James got home from church, he was like, because we did church on the screen, he had to go play at church, and when he got home, he was like, what? He said, it looks like you've been shot. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, that's just chocolate. It's okay. So I was having fun.
Chocolate.
It's been a weird day because unrelated to like actual real stuff going on in the world. So squirted chocolate all over my favorite t-shirt this morning. I think it came out. Then today when we went to get pie, I sat in a chair that had a metal seat, and I ripped my favorite green shorts. My only green shorts. And then
Dude.
So I've been having some wardrobe malfunctions today. So yeah, so if you see men's green shorts at the Walmarts, I need you to text me.
Yeah, okay? Text Kristi.
I need some. I need another pair.
Message, DM, slide in her DMs.
Is that what the kids say? I'm trying to discourage that these days. I always say I've had to date a lot less since I've been married the last however long we've been married. I don't date as much. So we do, and that's something if you're ever around us for long. So the kids and I went out of town unexpectedly. And I forget what we were talking to. We're talking to James, and he said something about their dad, and they both like popped up. Yeah, if we ever get to meet him, and I was like, you guys,
oh, you have rubbed off on your children.
So yes, he is their dad, like for sure.
No, he's 99.999. You are the father, James.
Probably their dad.
So, anywho, you guys, it's been one of those weeks. I don't know what you guys are feeling, but I definitely am glad to be back. I feel like I haven't talked to you forever, and it felt weird. Yeah. So
we both have had a lot going on, but some of the stuff that's going on, like with us, we're having some not our family issues, but big family issues, and like I feel like I can sit there, I can stay there, I can sit in that hurt and all of that, or like really what I want to be able to do, and I don't, maybe it'll happen one of these days, I want to be able to lay that down and keep moving. You know, I can't, but so for me, this, like you coming today, like it would have been easier to say no because of what we're coming off of this week, but I was like, no, we need to, I need this. I need to sit with you. We've got some friends that are lined up to guest.
I'm excited.
So yeah, and we missed you guys. We missed interacting with y'all. Like we were not posting or anything. So I don't know. I really, like, I felt personally on my personal accounts, I felt stuck. Like I feel like I don't know what to post to move forward because I don't want to act like I don't care about people or you know what's going on, and I feel like I'm speaking in such vague terms. What's going on? But at the same time, I don't know how to get started again. I don't want to just be like
right, because you want it to be appropriate. You don't want it to be, you know, like you said, like you don't care, or disrespectful, or you know, that you're turning your cheek on it or something. You know, it's definitely tough.
Because and it's, you know, that's something that I don't talk about a lot of these issues about race, about let's just say race. Let's just leave that there. I don't talk about that, and it's not that I don't care. It's not that I don't read or learn. It's just that that's just not something that I talk about because it's a very personal thing to me that I talk about with my people. And my, you know, and you know, just it's not. I don't ever like those opinions, stuff like that. I want to be so careful to not be a false teacher. I don't want to put my opinion out on social media and someone take my opinion as truth. So I try to not say something unless I really believe it to be true. And I think there are so many things that I don't need to say right now that need to come from the people.
Right.
So, I don't know how to say it. Like, right. Like I don't, it's not that I don't have a dog in a fight. We all have a dog in this fight. We all need to be not just not a racist, but anti-racist, all that. We all need to change. We all need to make changes. Even if you think you're doing a good job, we could probably do better, right? But I don't think that comes from me. I think that comes from someone who is an expert, whether they're walking it or they've studied or whatever. I'm just afraid I would say it wrong and I would mislead somebody.
And I think what you're saying is what we've talk about in this episode. When you listen, it definitely feels like a time to sit and listen and let hear it so that we can understand it, and so we can figure out, or to either figure out on our own, or to hear that and to know what to do next, or how to approach it, and how to help start making changes personally in our lives, in our communities. And you know, I know for me, and like I think I mentioned it in the episode, is, you know, I work in a diverse elementary school, where, it's one of those, and we grew up in a diverse school district. And so it's things that we just, not that it's overlooked, like just things we just don't think about. I mean, we've loved all, but that's just not, doesn't feel like enough.
And I think that's it. I think that's like for me, I'm called to love, and I do. But one of the things that it's not enough. Like not just loving everyone, not just teaching my children what I believe to be right, but making sure that we're making changes here, that we're talking about the real issues, real people, real feelings. Like I've got to change in my heart. We have to change in our home, before we can expect to see changes in our everybody, in our society, in our world. So so that's definitely a point of prayer for all of us, I think.
Yeah. So that's, we're just kind of trying to pick up where we left off. So, please hear this episode and know that we're just trying to let you know where we were at 2 weeks ago, and kind of where our hearts were. But, I did miss y'all. I'm like, I feel like,
I know,
like even though
something was missing,
was missing. And I do it. And I think we talked about this in the bed making episode, that it's, before, the George Floyd and, things that we're listening to now and processing, it was all coronavirus. And so it was a nice escape and getaway to talk about things like making your bed and PJs or clothes, it was a nice escape.
Us stuff,
like us things, things in our lives. But, then we had to pause a minute because there was a shift in things. Just, like we said, we just needed to be still, and we needed to be quiet for a minute and just to listen. And so we're just going to go from there and then talk to some friends and, keep connecting with each other. And again, I invite you, we say this every time, if there's someone out there who you haven't talked to us in a while, come on, sit and chat with us. It's not scary, I promise.
So every time Brenda invites someone to be a guest, the follow-up is, it's not scary, I promise.
It's not scary, I promise.
But I think that this is like a therapy thing, right? Like when someone says, honestly, and and you're trained to be like, they're lying. To be honest, well, that means that if you have to say, like if you're saying you're being honest, then are you honest? So if we're saying it's not scary, then maybe it is scary. But we did have someone tell us.
I won't say that ever again.
No, I love it when you say it, but I love it because I'm laughing at you. Like, well, maybe it's scary for some people, but you could be anonymous. You could only have to have your image on the video.
You can just record, and then at the end of it, go, you know what, psych, I don't want this on. I don't want this to be posted. And we're like, okay, and it just been a fun time.
Yeah, we did. We did have that. We had one friend, we had invited someone to be a guest. I think we talked about this. But for some different reasons, there were some things that needed to be worked out. And so we did a whole call. We basically would have recorded a whole episode or so, but we didn't actually record it. We just had the conversation. And
it was an awesome conversation. Like, I want to talk to her again, just to talk.
Yeah. And that was like that for me, that was enough.
It was.
Y'all would really benefit if she came on, but she may not. We'll see.
So, here is this Wednesday's episode. Enjoy. Leave us some comments. Let us know where you're at, what you're feeling. Let us know if there's something you want us to talk about. Are there things that, you want us to talk about, that you want our opinion on, or you just, want somebody else to, pick our brains. But yeah, we're glad to be back.
Yes. So I think I'm also glad to be at the end of this day.
Yes, me too.
So
I'm going to head back to Houston.
Y'all, and Brenda forgot her glasses, y'all. So
somebody driving like this.
We're going to pay you home.
Yes.
So what's funny is when we, a couple weeks ago, we recorded at your house with the kids, it started raining after we recorded.
Dude, it was a monsoon, honestly.
It rained and the waters rose, and we thought we were going to get stuck there.
I thought you were.
And now I thought tonight you were going to get stuck here because you can't see. But you're like, no, I can probably see. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
If you're on the road tonight, we apologize.
yeah, I'm going to blast some praise and worship music and be like, please, Jesus. No, that'll be fine. That'll be good. Yeah. All right, y'all.
Yeah, so we started out with an orange juice sad. Well, this orange juice sad. Let's end this with an orange glad. Just because, not to make light of anything that we're walking through, but it's a balance, right? We can be sad, we can be processing and learning and all the things, but in all that we can still be thankful. Yeah, we can show our gratitude. So what's something you're thankful for?
I am thankful.
Oh wait, Brenda, what are you glad about? Aren't you glad?
I am so glad. I am so glad that I drove to Brenham today, and I got to eat pie, and we got to hang out at Kristi's house. That everything just here makes me smile. So I'm so glad about that.
Well, and I'm glad that you came too. And also, I am strangely glad that James called me out on the fact that I cannot dance. So Brenda has learned something that is one of my deep. So
have
I ever told? And I've literally never done a cartwheel. Do you know that about me?
No, never ever.
Yeah, no.
In the history of Kristi,
not even like the little like silly one. Like I am like earthbound. That's my word for this year.
Y'all,
so I'm working on.
I try to get her to do the African anteater ritual, from Can't Buy Me Love.
Oh, they don't know. I think they need to see it.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, it's that. That.
I didn't see it.
No, not good again. But yeah, she doesn't dance. It's very. I'm really just speechless about that. Still.
Yeah. So now you'll have to get me to dance. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, like I said, I'll two-step. Like I'll dance with James. I'll dance. I'll partner dance.
But not like
I'm not really good at the waltzing. I'm not really good at the counting. But yeah.
Okay. Well.
So yeah, I'm glad that cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you guys. So we'll be here today on Wednesday, and then I think we'll be back Friday with one of our guests, right?
Yeah. Yes, Friday.
We'll get back to it. All right.
Okay.
Well,
all right,
thanks y'all for hanging out.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Enjoy the episode.
Hey. Hey, Kristi.
Okay, so good morning.
Hey, y'all. Good morning. It's like still morning. 1 minute.
It is.
A minute till noon. Hey, y'all. Welcome to Normal Biascast. I can't even talk. Normal Bias Podcast. We have been talking, and today we had plans to record our Wednesday episode of Orange Glad, and we were going to talk about laundry. And today's just not that day.
There's a lot going on in our world.
There's a lot going on in our world. We've gone from, I feel like, one pandemic to another. Like there's just some
epidemic, I don't know.
Epidemic, pandemic, just our world just is hurting right now. And so I wasn't sure if I wanted to record. I just knew that today wasn't the day to be on here being silly and talking about, my problem just with laundry is just very small right now. And so I just do, I kind of feel like the weight of the world, and there's just, instead of orange glad, it's, Kristi said, orange is sad.
Yeah. And I think that's okay. We saw our devotional this morning. I didn't tell you this, but our devotional, every morning we read a love language minute together. And today it's about when someone is sad and just sitting with that person, not trying to fix them. I talked about it a little bit, but I didn't tell you that wasn't my wisdom. That was Gary Chapman's. But he talks about, if you know someone who's sad, just show up for them, just sit with them in their sadness. Don't try to fix it. And that's what that made me think about when we were talking, is maybe it's enough to know that, like, just to show up for somebody. And maybe that's what we're going to go and put this online, and maybe someone's going to be like, I know that she's been sad, and I stay away from her because I don't know what to do with her sadness. Because sadness makes us uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
Like if I know you're sad, maybe it's easier for me not to call you, because then I don't have to listen to it, or I don't know how to help you. And so makes me feel sad. But the truth of it is, like, I mean, all of the experts, I think, say just sit with people in their sadness, to be empathetic, and show up for them, and do what?
Listen. Just listen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Don't fix it. No advice.
And you don't have to know what to say. I know, if you have a friend who's going through a divorce, or their parent just died,
you're hitting really home.
Just anything, and I've gone through a divorce, and I've gone through a parent dying of cancer, and I still struggle when friends are in that same situation with what to say. And maybe we're not supposed to say anything. Maybe that's just it. We're just supposed to show up and put there's a whole social distancing thing, but just let them put their head on your shoulder. Let them just say what they need to say. And, yesterday I was having a moment where I needed to vent. Like, I just needed to say something because I was so extremely frustrated, and there was only one person I could call because this person would be the only one to completely understand. And I just went off like 0 to 60, screaming, crying. I even cursed a little bit. Like I was just very in that moment of just, I gotta say this right now, and just listen, please, just listen, because I didn't necessarily want her to have a solution, just like you said. And she did offer some guidance and some advice, but I even said the words, like, I really appreciate that you're helping me with these words, but can you just let me shout these out, because I need to, and I know that you know what I'm saying. And she did. And it just felt good. Two things: that she knew exactly what I meant, and that then she did. I heard the silence. I heard her step back and just let me say it, and that's all I needed. And then I felt better. Isn't that not? It's
pressure, some of it.
Yeah. It's. I think when what you're saying is when someone just shows up to listen, it allows you to let go of that weight, that feeling, that clutter, that whatever it is. And then just like, just letting it release. And it just felt good.
You know what you made me think about? You made me think about, remember when we were younger, the whole thing was silence gives consent. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, do you think maybe that's why let's say people of our age or a group or whatever, maybe that's why part of the reason we're uncomfortable just showing up, because we think either, like, maybe that's the thing. Like, I've never thought of this, but I'm thinking of a couple of people specifically in my life who, when I say they suffer from mental illness, I mean like legit, it's not just depression and anxiety. Like, there's something that's not right, and they know it's not right, and they're medicated. It's not, I'm not making fun of them, I'm not making light of it, but it can be really hard to interact with them. And part of it is that silence gives consent. Maybe it's if we feel like if we just show up and just listen to that person, that we're agreeing with some of the things that they believe that are not helpful or that can be harmful. It's easy to listen to you when you're sad, because I know we're coming from the same place. I know that you're not, there's so much judgment in what I'm saying. But do you see do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to show up for you. It's not easy to show up for those people.
Mm-hmm.
And I named one specifically this morning after James read that devotional. I was like, I was talking to so-and-so, and I didn't know what to do. And I feel bad because now I'm reading this, and there's scripture that talks about, people who are sad, and he's reading it, and you're supposed to show up. And I was like, and I walked away from her. I asked her how she was, and she told me, and it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And, we talked a little bit, and I was like, okay. And I went on my way, and I was like, I was kind of glad to leave. And now I'm like, that wasn't helpful for her.
Had y'all, just like, see what I'm saying?
Hard stuff, man.
Right, it is hard stuff. And that's kind of, so that sort of is how I feel about what is going on as of last night. If you've watched the news and the riots and the protests, that maybe I've showed up and then like that, not known what to say, and kind of like, well, I don't know what to say, so I just back off or turn around, or my whole thing about sweeping it under the rug. I care, I love people, but I don't have any action to follow up with that. It's just, I haven't helped. And so I was telling Kristi before we got on here that 5 years ago, my friend, 5 years ago, so there's someone I follow on Instagram, Rebel Thriver, and she'd always had an anchor word for the year. That's where I first heard of anchor words. So I decided, like, yeah, I'm going to have one word. I'm going to think on that one word. I'm going to pick one every year. So I picked listen, like almost 5 years ago, the word listen. So Danielle, our friend, I hope you've heard her episode 8, she quilted that word for me, listen. And well, after the year, I didn't feel like I could put that word away. So I hung it on I have a cork board, bulletin board in my room with just things, happy things, things that I like to look at. And so I hung it on there, and it's still hanging on there. And and mostly it's because I don't feel like I can put that word away. And I don't know why. And well, now I do know why. Kristi and I were talking about it. And it's because I haven't learned. I haven't done that. I have not listened. I've been hearing. I've been hearing words. I hold my phone. I don't look up from it. If someone, my sons talk to me and I don't look them in the eye, I'm not present, y'all. I'm not present. So I'm hearing, and I'm not being intentional. I'm not being focused. I'm not hearing their words, so they stick in my mind, and that. So that word, listen, is heavy on my mind right now. Thank you, Danielle, for making that for me. And you know what's funny? I looked at it today different, because I was looking at that word and saying to myself, wow, it's been 5 years and you haven't done this. There's 3 little Russian dolls on it, 3 of them. And I don't know if she was intentional in that. And she also made me a pillow with the little, I can't think of what they are, the little nesting dolls. So there's a pillow with one upstairs in my game room, or in my guest room. But it reminded me of me, Matthew, and Alex. There's a small one and the medium one and then the big one. And I was like, whoa, just so many things that looking at that today, I was like, wow. And not only my sons, though, there's just lots of things I'm not listening to. And Kristi asked me, she asked me that specifically, like, who or what are you not listening? And I haven't listened to God either. I hear him. I hear him loud and clear. I need neon signs. I need bricks thrown at my head. And he gives me that. And I still shove it away.
Can you find, I think you're talking about it, but can you read what you read to me when we started talking? You were talking about the difference between listening and hearing.
Yes.
You're saying it, but I want you to put it all together for them, because what you're saying, you're talking about it, you're applying it, but I want them to hear it so they can apply it too.
Okay. So what I told Kristi, I've been feeling these things, and so I found a visual online. And I don't know if I could share my screen, but so I found this visual. It's 2 boxes. One's green, one's red, and the first box is on top. It says hearing, and then there's these 3 bullet points under hearing. It says hearing, accidental, involuntary, effortless. And y'all, that's what I do. I'm putting it out there. That's what I do. I don't know how long I've been doing that. I'll just say 5 years for sure that I have been doing this. And then listening is the other box, and the 3 bullet points are, so listening, focused, voluntary, intentional. So that's where I'm at today. The mirror is held up. I'm looking in it, and I give the example of my sons, but even with Kristi, I feel like I go back and watch our episodes, and I'll say my piece, and then I see myself looking around and piddling and writing or looking at my phone. And I'm not looking at you, and I'm listening. I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm not giving you that focus and that intention. And that bothers me, and I apologize for that. And
okay, I am going to bet it, even though you're not supposed to be listening. But here's what I'm going to tell you as an educator of many years. One of the things, it's not a culture thing. It's not a certain type of kid. It's not a certain age of kid. It's not a certain sex of kid. Not all people, we in our culture, we're like, look at me when I'm talking to you. And how many times have we said that to kids, right? Some kids can't look and listen. Some kids they are hearing, they are listening, they are hearing, but they're looking around at the same time. So I don't feel like you're not listening to me. I don't feel like you're not listening to me ever. But maybe you're just wired differently. I'm wired like, I know that I have to put my eyes here, because otherwise I will get distracted. I will not listen. But maybe you are listening, but you listen differently than I listen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's very valid what you're saying about your boys, and it's hurting your heart, and about other things. And you made some really good. So we talked for over an hour, well over an hour before we hit record, and we talked about all the world's problems. I'm not from the point of like, this is what we should do, this is how we should change. But Brenda, I think one of the things we talked about is we always talk about, what can I do? So that's what we do. We listen. Like right now, you talked about everybody right now is dealing with something. Some people are dealing with big life things. Some people are dealing with, we could list all the problems, right? Some people have really big problems. Some people have really small problems, but feel like really big problems to them. And I think, like, what if we just say right now, like, let's just accept everybody's hurting about something. Everybody's confused. Everybody has anger and fear and all of the things that make us all uncomfortable. But what if we just listened to other people, hear where they're coming from, not try to fix it, just to understand it, just so they can be heard. And then maybe in the listening, like with the bigger issues with race and the things that are the things that are happening that we wish weren't happening in our country, that we wish people didn't have to even think about. And when I say people, I mean all people. Maybe the answer for us, like, maybe we don't do something today, but maybe we listen to the people we need to listen to, and hear what it is that they're saying, and hear what it is that they do need us to do when it's time for us to do it. Maybe listening is going to tell us how a way that we could be that would be helpful, or things that we could quit saying that would be helpful, things we could quit doing that would be helpful. I don't know. I think
right.
Something.
What is Danielle's thing? Keep, stop, start.
That was good. You pulled that out.
Yeah, I did. Keep, stop, start. So, and I've thought about that too. And again, back to when she said it, I think she was saying in the context of her students in her class, and as a teacher, what could she keep, what should she stop, and what could she start, and that's a little checklist of things for her and her kids, her students. And when she said that, I automatically thought, oh gosh, well, especially being in quarantine for however many days and with each other 24/7, my kids, like, what could I do? What could I keep? What could I stop? What could I start? And it's back to that. I told you about holding the mirror up to my face. It starts. It starts with us, y'all. I've been thinking of that song, let there be peace on earth, but let it start with me. I was like, we have to change our hearts and our thinking. And then, then I have to, apply that to my children, to my family, to the people in my house. And then I can go outside my house and help others. I can't fix what's outside of my house until I fix what's inside me, and how I listen, how I'm being intentional. And I told Kristi, example with my sons, and I'm guilty of being distracted with my phone, and they are too. Like we are. Everyone in this house, I'll say, I won't speak for everyone, but our phones are at the kitchen table. They're with us. We go outside to hang out by the pool. We bring our phones. But here's the thing that I'm looking in the mirror is that my son, they'll tell me, I'll ask them something. What time is your AP test? And which one do you take tomorrow? And he'll tell me. And I see his mouth moving, and I'm hearing it. But then I ask him again later that night or the next day, and this is what I hear from him is, I've already told you that. I've already told you. And he doesn't want to tell me anymore. And it's because I didn't listen. And why I'm sad today, why I'm sad about that is because, y'all, he's officially a senior now, and he's about to leave, and I feel sad that I haven't listened. I feel sad that he's going to leave and graduate and go to college, and that I've made him feel like I haven't listened, that I haven't heard him. And I know that my youngest feels that way too. He has said it to me too, like, you don't listen, you don't hear. They tell me. Kids are honest. They tell you. And with Matt, I feel like I have time, I have time, but I'm not doing the action. I'm not listening, or I'm hearing it, but I'm not then going, oh, I haven't done anything about it, and I need to do something about it. And if anything that I'm saying is ringing home to you, you're not alone. Like, life is hard right now. And there's just I feel like being home and quarantined, it's just a lot of reflection, a lot of, wow, the dust has, yeah.
Is magnified.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's magnified. It's like the dust settled, and what's left is all, whoa, it uncovered a lot of things. And so, yeah, so I have some things to work on. And with those people, those two boys that I love so much, I have to change it in here and fast, because they're going to stop listening to me. They're going to stop caring what I say, because why should they? If I haven't given them, if I haven't heard their words, why are they going to listen to mine? Why? And
the beautiful thing about kids.
Yeah.
So they're resilient.
They are.
And they, like my kids, they can tell you so many things that I've done wrong. And a lot of the things that they say that I've done wrong, I don't remember doing them. So I don't know if I'm remembering like just the highlight reel, because I'm like, that just doesn't sound like something. Okay, that's your memory. But the beauty of kids is if you do something different tomorrow, like tomorrow you start with 10 minutes of presence. Tuesday, they're going to think, you see what I'm saying? Like that's what they're going to remember. They're going to remember that. They're not going to remember last Monday. They're going to remember that tomorrow you were present. And then Tuesday, if you're present for 10 more minutes than on Wednesday, they're going to remember that you were present Monday and Tuesday. They're not going to look back and like, man, last week mom didn't listen to me when I said we needed dental floss. But they're going to think, oh, hey, yesterday I mentioned that I wanted burgers and we're having burgers for dinner. Like that's how kids are, right? I guarantee you they would not beat you up over not listening. They will accept that you're trying to do better. And that will be the conversation in their head, not, man, she never listens. So you don't have to change your whole life. You don't have to change everything. But you looked in the mirror, you didn't like it, so do one thing. Whatever that one thing is for you. Like I want to drive over with my little red and yellow and green papers and put them up in your kitchen, and like I can only imagine Alex. Like I don't want to talk about my feelings. He says he doesn't want to talk about them. He totally talks about his feelings when you talk to him.
He does, and it's awesome. He does, and he's very articulate. He always has been, and it's just funny, yeah, because he does talk about them.
Yeah. So I look forward to hearing. I look forward to sitting down with you later this week. Excuse me, and hearing how. Like sometimes, like maybe just sitting here this morning talking it all out is going to release some of it, and instead of being bogged down in it, like what you're not doing, maybe now, maybe you'll hang up from this call with the hope of knowing that you're going to do something different tomorrow, even if you don't know what it is. Today. I don't know.
I don't know either. But I mean, I definitely already feel like the gauge has gone down a little. Like it's, the pressure is starting to go. Because, again, the enormity of it, that's just an example of here, like, close inside my house is my kids, but then it's the whole racial conversation, the racism conversation that's going on right now, the awareness, the magnitude of that, and that too, that I haven't been focused and intentional, and I'm not listening to understand. We listen to reply. And it's years of, we talked about growing up where we grew up in this diverse area, Northeast Houston, where I've been immersed in this melting pot of culture and color and people that I love and adore, that I'm still friends with now. So I have those people that I grew up with, and now I am work in an elementary school with, again, just so much diversity, so much culture, so much just, I love these people, but now I'm looking in the mirror at that I love them, all of them, like my own, like brothers, like sisters. And I hear them, but have I heard them? Do I know how they feel? And I don't. And that makes me sad too. And that makes me guilty. I feel guilty and I feel ashamed that, and maybe not ashamed. I feel like I have cared, but I feel like, right, that makes me feel like I haven't cared enough. Mm-hmm. And so that big quilted red listen is just hanging over me. And so I don't, like you said, and I thank you for saying that today I'm going to take a little bit of that and work on it a little bit today and tomorrow. And then we'll see, Friday where I am. But I'm definitely just aware of it big. And I need to do something. Well, and I don't know what. And I just hope that you will hold me accountable. And anyone out there listening, I need you to remind me of this when in a few months I slip, because we do that. And in 6 months when I forget or I get busy or, distracted again. Because, I need to walk the walk and talk the talk.
We all do. So, the things that you're talking about, I feel like it's such a universal thing. We all have something that we need to do better. I literally feel like all of us could be better listeners. We could all be less focused on ourselves and what we want to say next, or that you said something interesting. You said, we want to be seen and we want to be heard. But to really do that, I have to see and hear too. And that's such a reciprocal thing, isn't it? Like you can't, like you, not you, like, like me, I can't control how anybody else feels or how they treat me or anything. All I can control is how I treat them and how I treat myself. And so if that's one of the most frustrating things about being married, is that God literally never has changed James when I complain about James to him. He always hands me something to change. And then when I change that, a lot of times, we'll get down the road and I'm like, oh, I'll see how James changed too. But he changes in response to my love and my listening and my care. And so I guess that's my thing. Like again and again and again in my own life, I've seen, just like you, like today, you're choosing to be a better listener on so many levels, with your boys, with the world, with your community, big and small. You will see a difference, and you'll see, that will guide you as you listen and really hear. That will guide you to what you can do or not do. I think it's like we sit around and we want to help, we want to be a part of it, but not all stories are ours.
Yeah.
Like that. So I do think it's important to stand back and listen right now and find out where we fit in this story, how we for sure maybe don't make it worse, but also that we don't, I don't know, like I don't want to adopt some, I don't want to I don't know, I have all these feelings about all of this stuff, but I think for today, I think for our short Orange Juice Sad episode, it could also be like one of the things you said to me when we were talking is like, man, aren't you glad we get second chances?
Yes.
You were talking about that with the listen word, and you said, aren't you glad he gives us second chances? And I was like, yeah, because he, like his mercies are new every morning. We know that. But I'm on my 7 millionth chance with my kids, right? I screw up. If I do it right, I ask for forgiveness, we move on. Most of the time, I'm too proud to apologize or ask for forgiveness, and they move on anyway because they're awesome. But that's how it is. We fall down and we get back up. Or we fall down and he lifts us up. Sometimes we fall down and he keeps us there for a while so we can think about it before we get back up where we're going to go.
Right. Yes.
Oh shoot, the audio is going crazy again.
Oh no, is it me?
I don't know if it's unplugging and plugging in again. Let's see. Now talk.
Did it?
It's better. Okay.
Is it? Okay. You know what's funny is I should just do. I think I've never had problem with the headphone thing. I should probably just keep that. And that's why I've kind of played around. Sorry, y'all. We've been playing around with sound, and I'm trying a new mic today.
Well, and what I didn't tell you when you were in the middle of, you were talking about something very serious. I'm thinking the boys are outside. Noble has a friend over, and they were streaming something because you were talking, and you kind of got pixelated. And I was like, oh, our internet's slowing down. So this is part of it, living in a small rural town, you guys. We don't have internet like you have internet. It says like we pay for the stuff that you guys take for granted in your neighborhoods, but if there's more than one person streaming or uploading or downloading at a time, like Zoom calls will say, like, I am embarrassed, like whenever it's an important work Zoom call, it will say internet connection unstable. I'm like, dang. Hey kids, get off the podcast or Netflix or whatever you're on right now. So you have a really important moment that you're going to be really pixelated, and it's going to make you sad when you watch it.
Oh, it's okay. So I was just going to say really quick, because you said, about admitting when you're wrong and how hard that can be. And that can be. And I'm a lot, I do it now. I don't have a problem with saying when I'm wrong or apologize. Like, especially, and I try to do that with my kids. Like, dude, I'm so sorry. It came a point in my life where when I think most of us, when you're an adult, there's that point where, and for me, it was around 30, 32, that number one, that's when it hit me. I felt like an adult. I was an adult. Yeah, I was about to have a kid. And then in that same moment of time, I also realized, dude, my parents are real people. They make mistakes. They don't know everything. Like, what? Just that whole, all of it comes together kind of thing. And so, so I started apologizing when I needed to, admitting when I'm wrong. And when I did this was in my 30s too, because who wants to be wrong? Who wants to admit that? But I'm going to tell you, I learned that lesson from a little girl at the time who was, God, how old was she? She was under 10 years old. I want to say 7 or 8. And I'm going to say her name. Her name is Mackenzie Coker.
Oh.
Yes. And it was one of those aha moments. And, parent, her mom asked which one of her kids did it. Like, who did this? I can't remember what the thing was, but, her Franny said something like, what in the world? Who did this? And Mackenzie Coker raised her hand and she said, I did. And then there was the, consequence or whatever. And I just remember looking at her that day, because she had no problem. She's like, yep, I did it. And she literally raised her hand and said it. I did it. And then was like waiting for her consequence. Like, okay, do I go to my room? Am I in trouble? Like, whatever. Yep, I did it. And I just remember thinking, holy cow. She was so brave. She owned it. She did all the things in that one moment. And she's always been that way. And so after that, I was like, if she can do that, I mean, it just makes life easier for you, for everyone, when you just say, yeah, you know what? I did it. I said that. I did that, whatever, and I'm sorry. And then you just move on. And it's so refreshing. And thank you, Mackenzie Coker, because I don't know if you ever knew that. I know I've said it before, but to other people, why? Because I'll say, gosh, I wish I could do that. I'm like, you can. Let me tell you when I did it. I started doing it in my 30s, and this is a little girl taught me it.
So that's what we learned from them.
Yeah.
Like my son got new shoes with white soles, and he just stomped through the house, which I'm sure y'all will hear. And he just walked out to the backyard to play gaga ball in the mud with a friend. And I'm like, so maybe today I'm learning what not to do from him, but I'm not. Like, he's wearing shoes with white soles and brand new white socks. Can you imagine what those are going to look like in 10 minutes?
Uh-huh.
So, but also, the poor kid has waited for forever to have a new pair of tennis shoes. So I'm like, I want to be that mom that's like, I didn't buy those shoes for you to wear them.
Right.
So and I'm being myself, like, oh my gosh, the mud.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And I remember when I had a new pair of kids once, and I was like 4 years old, and I got them dirty. And this, that's just me because I'm like this, but I don't like to be dirty, or didn't used to like to be dirty. I just remember screaming my head off, going, ah, standing still, screaming my head off. And my mom runs outside. And she's like, oh my gosh, what happened? Did you get bit? Did a bee sting you? Like, what happened? Oh my gosh. And I'm like, my shoes are dirty. I remember the look on her face was like, seriously? You scared me to death, and that's why. Yeah. But, and it's like, I would do the same thing, be like, Matthew, I just bought you those shoes. What the heck? But what's wrong with it?
You know what? It's like, really, they weren't that much. He has been wearing the same pair of shoes since last May, when I bought him a pair of these hideous Nikes that he wanted. And then I bought him our local store. They only had it one size. It was half size too big for him. And I bought him and put him away. And then a week later, it was time to go to space camp. And he was like, please, can I wear these shoes at space camp? And so I let him. And so then for a year, he's been wearing these hideous shoes. He grew into them immediately. So he had like a nice pair of Adidas and these hideous Nikes. And all year long, whether it was nice or church or whatever, he wore the hideous Nikes. So the Adidas still look pretty new.
Mm-hmm.
The Nikes are falling apart. But now this week we finally stopped. We put on our masks and went to the outlet mall and got shoes. But in the first day, he had a friend over. He had a friend over this week, and he has a friend over today. And he walked outside him, and I was like, those are not outside shoes today because it's muddy. And I sent him back inside, and I was like, you know what? That poor kid has a pair of shoes in a year. I'm like sucking all the joy out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I was thinking about your Mackenzie story, one of the things that I always tell, I've done a lot of leadership training and stuff. And one of the things I always tell people, whether you're like a boss or a leader or group leader or whatever it is, I think a huge sign of maturity in leadership is when you can take responsibility when things go wrong, whether you did it or someone else did it. If something is wrong, it's I made a mistake. I'm so sorry. I will do this next time. Whether it's you or the person under you, it's I. And then when something, like, there are so many people, when something goes wrong, they did it, he did it, she did it. And then when something goes right, it's, oh, yes, I did do that. And I think that that's the way that you know that you're mature as a leader, is that you take responsibility for the hard stuff, because ultimately you are responsible.
Mm-hmm.
But then you, like, when it's praise, you share it. It's we, like my team. Oh yeah, my team did whatever. We're working really hard on. So that's what that made me think about with Mackenzie. I was like, I bet she is a great leader if she understood that as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's, is she a teenager, old teenager?
Yeah, she's Casey and Alex's age. She's already 17. She turns, her and Al, they're like several weeks apart, like days apart. Yeah, days apart. Alex is February 24th. She's February 27th. Okay. So she'll be a senior also. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that too, like, I always think of her because on Facebook right now, I'll just say Facebook and Twitter. Twitter's a little different. I feel like Twitter, definitely people say how they feel without wanting to change the other person's opinion, But I just feel like just right now there's so much mud being slung. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. No, and I don't think, I'm just saying this for me, that it's not a black and a white issue. It's a human race issue. Like, it's all of us. We all have a part in it. I'm not blaming. I'm going to say what I'm doing wrong. I'm not. Stop. We can't point fingers. That's what I was talking about the mirror. Hold that mirror up to you. What is your part? That's what I tell my kids when, even if they hit each other, like, Matt hit me. Why? What was your part? Why would Matt just hit you? Like, what is your part in it? Tell me what you did, then I'm going to hear what he did. It's like, we just can't blame each other. What is your part in it? And that's what Mackenzie taught me that day. It's like, I'm not going to blame my brother or my sister or the dog. I'm just going to come clean. Yes, I did it. Okay, now what's my punishment? Okay, next, move on. And it just like, I was like, dude, that is just, again, refreshing. Like, yes, it just is better. And no one wants to be wrong. This is another thing people say, like, oh, I don't like to lose. I'm competitive. Okay. Who likes losing? Raise your hand. Who likes losing? I want to know that person. It's not that I just don't, it's okay if I don't win, It's okay if I lose at, a game. Oh, well. So who wants to be wrong? No one. Who wants to admit that? Nobody does. But someone has to. We have to stand up, and we have to show up. Mm-hmm.
Stand up, show up, listen up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You wrap that up. You put that in a neat little ball.
There you go. my dad used to say, "Get up, dress up, show up." Mm-hmm. He's like, "You just do." My dad was a clothes person. Get up and get in your clothes, not stay in your PJs. That was one of, yes. Yeah. He definitely would be like, come on, Brenda, get up, get some clothes on, put your makeup on if you need to, but just get up, dress up. And then you show up. Of course, like, yeah, but I don't need to show up yet. So I'm going to stay in my pajamas.
So are you in pajamas right now, or you were and then you took a shower?
I was, and then I took a shower. I mean, this is not a sleep shirt. It definitely could be, but this is.
What does it say on the 8th day? What?
It said, on the 8th day, God created chips and salsa.
Oh, maybe that's what you need today, is like a good chips and salsa and guac session.
Maybe. Yep. That always helps. I am definitely an emotional eater.
You know what? I am too. And that's the thing that like really makes me grumpy is when, I eat when I'm happy. I eat when I'm sad. I eat when I'm busy. I eat when I don't have anything to do. I like, there's pretty much not a time that I don't like to eat. And there's pretty much not a thing like a flavor or a category of food that I don't like to eat. So yeah. And so, and like all of you guys that had boys before me, or kids, and I'd be like, oh, how are you in such great shape? Oh, I was chasing this baby. My kids
chasing the baby with a donut in one hand and a ice cream cone in the other. Like, what?
I'm still working on baby weight from 18 years ago.
Same, girl. Same.
Yeah. So
I think we say this that people how we're wired, because I always say this. Why, when I'll use my sister as an example, when she's sad or happy or, whatever, well, she goes and takes a yoga class or a Pilates class or goes for a walk or a jog. That's what she does. No, I am like, okay, is the donut shop still open? What time is it? Like, oh, I think I need a pizza. Like a carb, body by carbs. I want to eat. That's how I'm wired. Like, I think of food, comfort. That's how I cope. No, I don't go run a marathon. Dang it.
Maybe
even if I do, I'll join one of those 5Ks. It's like, we'll run for wine, tacos, what's at the end of the line, at the finish line. It has to be something I can eat.
Looking at them, two young men walking this way.
Aw.
Okay.
So, friend, well, I really appreciate y'all listening. And for Kristi, I've already talked her ear off now for probably 2 hours, but whatever you're going through, like, see, can you already tell the change in my voice from just letting that, just purging all that stuff? Like, I truly feel lighter. I feel better. I've got things to do, but I'm going to take some baby steps. I can't change the world in a day. My kids aren't even home right now, so I can't go practice on listening to them, but
you
I can focus.
Yeah, you can be ready for when they get home tonight, whether it's at dinner time or bedtime or whatever it is, but you can take some, you absolutely can. Like, I have no doubt that tonight is going to be different than the last Sunday night not last Sunday, but the last Sunday night when they came home. Because you're different already today. You're different than you were yesterday.
So crazy. And don't be, I have had that word hanging on my board for 5 years. So don't beat yourself up if you have that thing that you know that you've admitted to yourself, that thing, that word, whatever it is that you need to work on, that however long it's been too. Let that go. This is 5 years in the making. We're admitting is the first step. And so we've got this.
But like, I think too, like, if you're anything like me, 5 years from now, we'll be having a similar conversation, because there will be something different that you need to learn to listen to. Whether maybe it'll be in 5 years, you'll be listening to your heart. Maybe it'll be something. But we joke about like circling the same mountains and stuff around here, but it's okay. It's okay. Like, we don't really, the things that we struggle with, it's not always as cut and dry, like, oh, I lost 20 pounds and now I get to not worry about it ever again. No, I have to fight to keep that 20 pounds off, right?
Right.
You have to fight to be present and to break some of the habits that you have. Like, for me, I have to, like, I struggle with that too. And there are things that I know that I have to do. Each of the 3 people who live in my house with me, or I live with them, each of them needs me to do something different to show that I'm there for them. One of them just needs me to be shoulder to shoulder. Actually, if they could be like on top of me, not my husband. What he needs is he needs me to look up and smile at him when he walks in the room. And when I don't, like, if I want to hurt that man or cut him to all I have to do is not look up and smile at him when he comes in the room. And that's how I tell him, like, we're in big trouble, mister. And then, and so then it spirals. And then the other one is this one, and talks and talks and talks and talks about stuff that I could care less about. Love you dearly, but I don't care about a lot of the things that you care about as a young person. Weird Al Yankovic being one of those things.
I was about to say, send him over to me and I will listen all day.
Yeah. So, and
I feel a connection. Yeah. I have a connection with him and I understand that.
Yeah. It was awesome. And it was awesome that you talked to him. But so how I show love to him is I stop what I'm doing and I listen to him. But I also show respect to him, because I'll get to a point and I'm like, so I'm going to stop you right there. Can we pick this up later? Or I forget what he was saying the other day, but I just stopped him and I was like, I'm going to be straight with you. I want to hear what you have to say, but I don't want to talk about that anymore right now. So
I feel that, I was saying a while back about being a fan and such a fan. It's like, when I'm a fan, I am a fan. Like, and I get that. Yes. And I get that he is just loves this person and everything he does and everything he's about. And he just wants to talk about it. And he just, he wants yeah. And even if I know enough about Weird Al that I can talk to him about it. But then again, it goes back to the thing, like, what do I not know about him? Why do you like him so much? Like, I want to learn more about that whole connection.
Okay. And so that's something I'm going to hand back to you, is because you're sitting here and you're telling me today, you've been telling me for a while today, that you're not a good listener. But I saw you last week I saw you listen to your niece and nephew about different things. I saw you listen to your sister-in-law and brother-in-law. I saw you ask my child questions to draw him out and then listen to his answers. I saw you listen to your son and my daughter. I saw you, Matt came down and sat down later, and I saw you listen to Matt. And it was like you knew that he needed he needed to talk just a little bit about what he'd been watching, but he didn't want to go in depth. And I saw you navigate that and know how far to ask, how far to push with the asking, and then when to back up. So I see you listening and hearing. I see it. So you're not all bad.
Yay. Thanks, Kristi.
Wow, that is high praise. You're not all bad.
But I think
so
it's
much good.
Yes, and I do, like, because I said this word has been hanging there for 5 years, so I know. And it's just that it's just being intentional. Like I'm getting to that part where I need to be intentional and for it to stick and to feel like I am truly giving them that. So I'm working on it. So thank you.
Well, here's what I say. I say, let's just lay this down and we're going to leave it here. And if you are having an orange you sad day, and like Brenda was talking about her friend that she could just call and vent, if you need to vent, you send us a message. Our contact stuff is all over our YouTube stuff. It's on, if you're watching and listening in podcasts, it's on our podcast homepage. Social media, you know how to get a hold of us. So if you need to vent to somebody, gladly take your call. Not on the air, not on the internet, but
not on the internet, but absolutely at iBrenda. I'm at iBrenda on Twitter. I'm at iBrenda on Instagram. Brenda Parks on Facebook. Seriously,
yeah, like that. Like you have a person.
You do, absolutely. You're not alone. And I want to say this too, really quick. Not scary to get on here and talk to us. Like, honestly, we've told several people this. We'll record it. If you decide at the end of it, we won't post it. We won't. And the beauty of this is we had planned to talk about one thing. I turned it around and made it a whole other thing. But at the end of it, it really is, it feels good to get it out there. And then you will, I think, will be surprised at how good it feels to talk about whatever it is, even if it's just telling a story. But someone else out there might need to hear that. It might help you heal. Who knows? But I just want to challenge you guys to feel brave. If you want to talk to us, you don't even have to know us. Like, I have reached out legitimately to an absolute stranger on Instagram that just so happened to come into my comments one day, and then I popped over to his Instagram and thought, or saw some things that really jumped out at me that were common ground between this complete stranger and I. It took me a week or so, but then I sent him a message and said, hey, I would love to talk to you on my new podcast. He hasn't responded. That is okay. I'm just saying, I will talk. I love talking to people. Yeah. And maybe you're just feeling a little scared. But it's not scary, I promise. So if anyone out there who is listening, and I appreciate it, and you're listen to that little voice that says, yeah, you want to. I hope you will. So just saying. Mm-hmm.
I just love you.
I just love you too. Yep. That's another one of my favorite quotes is, your life is a ministry. You never know who's watching. You never know. So there, you could have something that someone needs to hear. So
you do.
I invite you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yay. So enjoy the rest of your day.
We'll be back Friday. Who knows what we're going to talk about now? We'll see.
Who knows? We'll be back Friday. So it's Wednesday. We have already survived 100% of our worst days. That is another quote I love. Remember that. So yeah.
So what's funny is like this was going to be like a silly episode, and then what I had planned for Friday, it's not silly, but it's a little bit frivolous. And I'm like, gosh, how do you segue from such a hard
this
to like some are fun? And I'm like, you know what, but maybe we do, because you know, like we talked about before, joy and pain, they sit side by side, and it's okay.
They do.
Maybe maybe Friday's episode will be irreverent and totally bubblegum. We'll see. Who knows?
We'll see. Who knows? Right. Right.
I do not go have lunch with my family, and I'm really impressed that nobody has opened any doors, that they are running the dishwasher. I've heard several timers go off, and I'm like,
yes.
I've heard lots of stomping back and forth. So I'm like, I think they're trying to tell me that it's time for me to come to lunch.
It's time to come to lunch. Yes. Go be with your people.
All right.
Yeah.
You need to come be with us. Come on.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I definitely want to still do that.
Come on.
Yeah. So yay. All right, friends. I love you.
I'll talk to you again. I'm sure I'll talk to you later today.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right. Normal biasers. Peace out.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.